Greetings, loyal viewers, and welcome back to another episode of November in Bikini Bottom. Wow, first time we're finally doing a review for this month, aren't we? I have a question for you all. Have you ever had that one thing that you heard a lot about growing up and even heard some good things about, but you've never actually got to experience it for yourself fully? Well, for me, that such thing was Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's a real shame too, especially for what we'll be reviewing for the next episode in this month, because I remember seeing ads for this and thinking, man, this looks like it'll be a lot of fun. We were unfortunately poor growing up, so we didn't have that many games, and unfortunately Battle for Bikini Bottom was one of them. Thankfully, I have played it since then as an adult, or more specifically, I should say, I played the remade version of it on Xbox One, and now I must simply ask 18 years later, is this game truly worthy of its established cult status? Well, drop on the deck and flop like a fish, because we're going to be finding out today, so let us quickly go over Battle for Bikini Bottom. Okay, so what's the story? Plankton decides to build a new machine called the Duplicatatron 3000 to produce his own robotic army. Not too surprisingly, it backfires as he, for some reason, had the lever for the machine set to Don't Obey. This leads to the robot seizing control of the chum bucket, kicking Plankton out, and the following day wreaking havoc all over Bikini Bottom. I would say that this was pretty stupid of him, but then again...
Coin-operated self-destruct. Not one of my better ideas.
Yeah, it's pretty character of him, to be honest. The following day, we finally take control of SpongeBob within his own home, serving as sort of a quick little tutorial for the base game. And it's a pretty decent and effective way for us to get a good feel for the controls, which are actually kinda good. Nothing utterly amazing, mind you, but they do get the job done in making this a really fun game to play, despite how simplistic it is. But then again, it is a platformer, so I guess that's sort of to be expected. Unfortunately, we're also introduced to easily one of the biggest pet peeves that I, and I'm sure a lot of people had, when they played this game growing up. And that's...
Hey there, SpongeBob. As a faithful crew member of the Krusty Krab, you've been, promoted to head shiny object collector.
Who the hell is that? I mean, really? You got the other members from the show, including Tom Kenny, Roger Bumpus, and Doug Lawrence, but you couldn't get my boy Clancy Brown to play Mr. Krabs? Having Mr. Krabs without Clancy Brown is quite frankly like having pizza without any cheese. You just don't do it, man. You just don't do it. No disrespect to the voice actor Joe White, of course. After all, he's done some notable voice work, most famously as Chris Redfield in the Resident Evil remake, as well as doing minor voice work in quite a few Disney films. This just comes across as a bit more incompetent, I guess I should say, on the director's part. Nothing to shame anyone on, mind you, but definitely something that is worth pointing out. And for the record, no, they did not fix this in the remake either. Yeah, kind of disappointing. Oh, and just to get it out of the way right now so I don't have to bring it back up later, if you think Joe White's impression of Mr. Krabs is bad, you ain't heard his Mermaid Man voice yet.
Yes! A bunch of evil robots have taken over the Mermalair security system. It's up to you to shut it down and stop them!
Oh god, that hurts. Thankfully though, like I said, the rest of the voice cast is here playing their respective roles, and to be honest, they do a reasonably solid job here. Again, much like the gameplay, it's nothing major, but it does get the job done. Okay, so from this point onward, I'm going to go ahead and quickly go over the gameplay from Jellyfish Fields onwards, addressing some other aspects of the gameplay, as well as maybe noting a few bumps in the road. So with that said, let's go ahead and quickly discuss the visuals. While it's not the most visually mind-blowing game for the time, especially when compared to other games that came out the same year, but for a mid-budget licensed game, at least I'm pretty sure that it was, it looks pretty decent and does a really solid job at capturing the look and feel of Bikini Bottom. From SpongeBob and Squidward's homes, to Jellyfish Fields, to even Rock Bottom of all places, the game goes above and beyond to appease the fans of the show with locations that look and feel very familiar to them. The character models, while definitely dated nowadays, also look pretty good as well. And along with their special moves, are also animated decently well. Again, for a mid-budget licensed game at least. Speaking of special moves, I did say there, and that's because it's not just SpongeBob you'll be playing throughout the game, you'll also be playing as Patrick and Sandy. While Patrick doesn't really have much to make him stand out from SpongeBob per se, Sandy does have things like her lasso, which you can use to get across long distances with these floating Texas symbols, which by the way I think is kind of cute, and can even use it to take out enemies from a distance. Am I the only one who really feels like Toys for Bob used this for inspiration for Tana's gameplay in Crash 4? Am I the only one who feels that way? I'm probably the only one. As for how you progress, you do so by completing challenges in certain levels to earn the main collectible, those being golden spatulas, as well as searching for them by means of reasonably challenging platforming, at least sometimes anyway. Yeah, especially early on in the game, it's fairly easy to be able to find some of them, but many of them you will be obtaining from specific challenges. And while they're nothing hard, they are definitely something that can require a little bit of skill to obtain. Now, while a lot of this game is fun and controls really well, there are a few instances where getting the collectibles in this in order to progress in a level can be a bit of a grind at times, and of course, a few of the minigames are definitely more annoying than fun. Like this really bad one you do in Mermaid's Lair, where you have to guide this big rock to a specific hole in order to receive the golden spatula. The order and timing can be very precise, and messing up results in you having to do it all over again. Yeah, needless to say, it ain't fun. As for the bosses, along with the mini-bosses of course, most of them are pretty alright I guess. Nothing majorly special, but they do change them up here and there as you progress through the game. And I do at least like how most of them are giant robot versions of the main cast, really running with the whole robot invasion plot. And I will admit, the final boss against Robot SpongeBob is pretty fun, and I do love the part where you have to go inside of him to completely destroy him from the inside, utilizing some of SpongeBob's own special moves that you've obtained throughout the game. It's pretty great. After you defeat the final boss, the Duplicatatron produces several more robot planktons, which begin arguing amongst themselves. The game ends after SpongeBob says that their work is not quite done, as there's still many robots running amok in the city. The game then cuts to the Spongeball Arena, where the player rolls around in the ball form in a very large arena, while the credits roll on the screen. If the player collects all 100 golden spatulas throughout the game ends with a very special surprise cutscene of all the characters singing the SpongeBob theme song. Okay, I will admit, while nothing amazing, that is definitely worth the price of admission in my opinion. At this point, I think it's safe to say that I can now totally see why many people regard this as a cult classic. While I've been stating it's nothing amazing, in fact, there definitely are quite a few annoyances in the game. Nothing major, but some that I kinda did wish would be fixed in the remake. But for the most part, I can definitely see why this is regarded as a classic, and it's definitely one that, if you can get the original, or even if you just want the same game but prettier, the remake, then I would say definitely go for it. It's definitely worth your time. Which is why I, King Gargantuous, give SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom 7.5 golden spatulas out of 10. I'll be real, I do kind of feel bad giving this a quicker review, especially considering I know so many people that have already reviewed this game already, including Ant Dude, but I know of one way to make up for that. So what am I going to be reviewing next week?